Hello and welcome to this explainer on the craft of care. I'm joining you today as a neutral external specialist, invited in to really just support your team. I know firsthand that the work you do is incredibly demanding, and my goal today is to guide you through how our daily compliance and safety routines are in fact profound acts of respecting resident dignity. We're in this together, and getting these core practices right makes a massive difference for the community we serve and for you as professionals. So let's dive right in. On our agenda for this explainer, we've got 6 main pillars to cover: dignity in daily care, safety through face checks, de-escalation and crisis response, a case study on stress vulnerability, shift handoff communication, and finally, team support. Starting off with Pillar 1, dignity in daily care, which is really our guiding philosophy. Now, treating our residents with dignity, it isn't just some nice sentiment. As this highlights, it is a legal and requirement, an absolute clinical best practice. It's the very foundation of clinical strength. We really must recognize that every single individual, regardless of their psychiatric symptoms or, their willingness to engage, possesses autonomy and agency. When we respect that agency, we build trust. And trust, well, that's the ultimate tool for a safer environment. Moving right along to Pillar 2, safety through face checks. This is all about active protection. So, what does a correct face check procedure actually look like? It's simple, but literally critical. It breaks down into 3 distinct steps. First up, you perform a visual confirmation to ensure the consumer's safety and well-being. Second, you verify the specific interval required. That legal interval is always driven by the resident's individualized treatment plan, or ITP. And third, you document your initials, the exact time, the location, and the resident status immediately. Because, to an auditor or a surveyor, an undocumented round is simply a round that didn't happen. These intervals are what we call defensible defaults, and you need to know them precisely. Routine populations might be checked every 2 hours. New admits, they're hourly during their first week. And our high-risk individuals are on the shortest individual interval. Now, you might be wondering, why the heavy emphasis on documentation? Emphasizing clear documentation of these checks isn't just a bureaucratic chore. It's the ultimate paper trail that protects you and the staff from liability, while simultaneously ensuring our residents get timely, life-saving interventions if they ever need them. Proper safety routines absolutely empower staff to provide better care. Okay, Section 3, de-escalation and crisis response. Let's talk about safe management. If you spot potential substance use, the absolute most important thing you can do is remain calm and maintain a completely non-judgmental posture. Residents with substance exposure are often targets of others in the community, and they really need our help. You need to identify potential overdose symptoms or medication toxicity signs quietly and clinically. So look for things like extreme thirst, slurred speech, confusion, or a stupor. Always treat the resident as a patient first. If an overdose is suspected, immediately locate additional nursing staff and ensure swift clinical naloxone readiness. So how does this framework build into behavioral de-escalation? When facing severe agitation, prioritize a dignity-centered de-escalation routine. First, you've got to read the early warning signs like tension or social withdrawal. Then, gently guide the resident through the CALM or RELAX breathing sequence. Have them slowly exhale to the letters, pause, and repeat. You can also encourage muscle stretches, like simple shoulder shrugs, to reduce tension. Ultimately, offering space and reduced stimulation shows genuine respect for their needs in that critical moment. The number 10. This is absolutely crucial to remember. Manual holds or therapeutic separations are an absolute last resort, used only in a true behavioral emergency to prevent injury, never just for convenience. If a restraint is ever initiated, nursing must examine the resident no later than 10 minutes after the restraint starts. This guardrail is in place for a very specific reason, to protect the resident's physical safety and their inherent dignity. Let's move to Section 4 and look at a quick case study on stress vulnerability. I want you to picture this scenario. A man is admitted to a psychiatric crisis unit. He's paranoid, his speech is disorganized, and his behavior is highly unpredictable. Suddenly, he shouts, "Get out! Leave me alone!" So, what does this all mean? How do we interpret and respond to this intense purpose of behavior? Well, notice the stark contrast in these 2 approaches. A clinician unfamiliar with our framework might take a punitive view, seeing this as pure resistance or just a symptom to overcome. But an empowered caregiver, we use a dignity-based interpretation. We recognize this as purposive behavior. He is striving towards safety the only way he currently knows how. By Socratically paraphrasing his need, simply saying something like, "It sounds like you need some space right now to feel better," we validate his reality. He stops shouting. His shoulders drop. You have just effectively de-escalated the tension simply by listening. Pillar 5, shift handoffs. This is all about vital communication. Effective communication during sensitive shift changes requires a highly structured approach. By intentionally leveraging our centralized interdisciplinary team, or IDT system, we can flag dietary issues, care concerns, and behavioral observations in real time. We then bring these tracked items directly into our daily morning meeting structures to ensure leadership and clinical heads can generate immediate actionable solutions. Following these clear, chronological steps for your shift handoffs is totally non-negotiable. At the shift's end, you must provide a structured, written, and verbal pass-down using the acronym SBAR, Situation, Background, Assessment, Recommendation. The whole shebang. This structure ensures that high-risk concerns, new admits, recent elopement watches, or pending medication issues are seamlessly and safely shared. It literally stops critical information from falling through the cracks when one team leaves and another arrives. Section 6, Team Support. Let's talk about empowerment and trust. I really want to hit the nail on the head with this one. Speaking up is valued here. It is never punished. If you are ever unsure about a resident's condition, if you spot an early warning sign, or if you're kind of unclear on a facility protocol, asking for help is always the right move. Checking on a resident in extra time or escalating a concern to a supervisor drastically improves patient outcomes and builds essential team trust. Remember, you are never alone on the floor. This really captures the true essence of our team dynamic. Supporting your colleagues in this challenging, fast-paced environment creates a safer, more predictable, and for sure, a more respectful community for everyone involved. When staff feel supported by one another, that stability transfers directly to the residents. We share the load, we share the observations, and we share the responsibility of care. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to consider as we wrap up this explainer. The exact regulations, the intervals, the reporting requirements, they're all right there in your handbooks, but the execution relies entirely on you. How will you use your expertise today to ensure every single compliance task, every face check, every shift handoff, every de-escalation elevates the humanity of those in our care? You have the power to make a real game-changing difference today. Thank you so much for your time, your dedication, and your incredible commitment to this vital work.